So I wanted to bring up a few other points on some of the stuff I was talking about. I mean, it's just because there's just so much out there. Oh my goodness, it's happened, and it's going to continue to happen for quite a while. So in part one, I think I kind of just talked about Coinbase and GDAX in the past tense, and that's just not right. That's just not accurate, I hope. A lot of people are spreading rumors and stuff like that. But hopefully, I really do sincerely hope Coinbase manages to pull through all this, whatever problems they may be in. And I want to talk a little bit about Bitcoin, especially because, you guys saw with Mt. Gox, I mean, what can happen to the price when we have major exchanges go down, and then, Cryptsy followed soon after that, which was another big exchange that went down. And and this is going to happen. It's neither good nor bad, but it can have some short-term consequences, especially on the price. And I'm thinking that's probably what a lot of this, where I've got circled here, we're seeing some of this drop down occurring. But the other issue to really think about is the fact that a lot of folks, let's go look at that. What are they doing? They're buying ETC, right? But what are they doing? A lot of them, what are they doing when they do that? Let's look at the 1 hour chart. They're shorting Bitcoin, right? They're selling their Bitcoins. This is not properly, this is one thing Poloniex does that I wish they wouldn't do. So ETC should be here. You should be long ETC and short BTC. So there's an example of why the industry should learn to follow legacy finance procedures, especially when it comes to trading currencies. So in Forex, when you say something is, when you're saying BTC, ETC, that means if you went long, you'd be buying BTC and selling buying BTC and selling ETC, right? Which is what you should be doing. Well, this is what you are doing. And in fact, if you went long, if you went short, then you'd be buying BTC and selling ETC, right? So, I mean, what you're seeing with all the altcoins, right, is that a lot of them got sold out too, right? They got pushed down because everybody just ran over here to play in this game, because this was the game, this was the play of the century, right? And so naturally, if you're buying ETC and you're selling your Bitcoin, don't be surprised when the price of Bitcoin goes down, right? I think a lot of people forget to think about that. But let's look at something else too. We'll go look at Ethereum. So traditionally, there's been kind of an ARB, when Ethereum went up. Let's just look at the daily chart here. There we go. So like with drops like this, these were big drops like this had more to do with, I mean, there was the hard fork that was involved. But, Ethereum, it used to be that Bitcoin, when Bitcoin rallied, Ethereum would go down. And when Ethereum rallied, Bitcoin would go down. It wouldn't always be symmetrical, but it'd be pretty close. And there was kind of an ARB there where people were running back and forth from Ethereum to Bitcoin and then back into Ethereum. It's kind of a nice trade. I never did it, but a lot of folks did pretty well with that. But look what happened here, right? Today, let's just outline that so we can see, these candles here, today's candle, there wasn't much of a movement, right, on the thing. So, but then on the other hand, let's go back. Let's look at ETC. today. So while Bitcoin's falling, right? Ethereum, pretty symmetrical move, right? So what's happening here? I mean, folks are already starting to play the ARB with ETC instead of Ethereum. And I think this is a big clue, guys. Just my personal opinion. This is a big clue that you're in the right place with ETC. I don't know what to tell you. To me, it's just looking like, wow, the ARBs are moving in that direction instead of with the forked Ethereum. So again, just my opinion, but it's something to think about. Now then, I told you in some of the other videos, I think it was, should Bitcoin scale, that I didn't see what the heck was the difference, between Bitcoin Core, figuring out what they're going to do, and what Janet Yellen's going to do. And of course, there was a big sort of quiet closed door meetings. I don't like quiet closed door meetings, it just, I don't know. Not in crypto. I mean, we're supposed to be a bit transparent here. The whole idea of blockchain is transparency. And it's nice to extend that ethic beyond just the blockchain or just beyond the protocol, right? It's nice to extend that ethic to all facets. And unfortunately, that doesn't get done a lot. I want to talk about that more in the future, about the lack of transparency, especially when it comes to off-chain transactions. I just think it undermines the very spirit of Bitcoin and crypto in general. So these little meetings here that are going on between the miners and the core developers behind closed doors, I don't know. I just don't like all that. I wouldn't be surprised if we see more of a shakeout on that, right? So who knows? But, again, getting back to the whole idea of Bitcoin going long, I'm still pretty optimistic about it. I think Bitcoin has proven one thing after this Ethereum debacle. It's proven that it's kind of got the right idea. And if it hadn't done that before, it's definitely done that now. It's definitely a lot harder to run a blockchain than you think, and it's a lot easier to mess one up than it is to make one work. And so Bitcoin remains a granddaddy, and pretty excited about it. Little plays like ETC and some of the other cryptos that I play now and again, they're kind of for fun. Kind of a neat way to earn some more Bitcoin, which I always like to do. So but anyway, something for you guys to really think about when you're looking at this new situation with the arbitrage that may be going on between Ethereum and Bitcoin. Seems like it sort of started to emerge. So, yeah. One of the things I really wanted to discuss with all of you today, and to be a little frank, and it gets back to the whole idea of regulation, right? I know a lot of you think, Bitcoin can't be regulated, and you may be right, but along the way, don't expect regulators to not try. Along the way, they can sure bash a lot of heads, okay, trying to regulate Bitcoin. They've already done it, and they'll probably do it some more, and especially now, after this little weird debacle that occurred with Ethereum, right? So I always talk about Mao. So, Mao used to say, well, to make a point, you just go out there and kill 10,000 people, right? And it's kind of a horrendous thing to say, but it does scare people, right? And most regulators work on that premise, right? Not to that extreme, of course, but they will go out there and try to put the fear of God into everybody. It's kind of their job in a way, and you can't expect them not to do it, to be honest with you. And you just look at BitTorrent. So, they've probably absolutely failed to stop BitTorrent, of course. But, I mean, along the way, some folks have suffered pretty bad. So pay attention here. Take some time to think about what you guys can do to self-regulate, what you guys can do to fix this problem. So, I'll give you an example. I mean, right now, the legal structure that we have now, the central bank is legally obligated to do the kind of things they've done since 2008. They have the legal authority in this country to bail out a business. Ethereum, the Ethereum Foundation does not have the legal authority to go in and bail out folks. Okay. And this is, I don't know what to tell you guys. It's just bad what's happened here with this fork, and then following on that, giving these exchanges this bad advice, right, to just ignore the replay attacks that have been happening, and exchanges have been losing money, and they're getting hurt pretty hard from this. And some of the brighter exchanges like Poloniex saw this coming, and I was really happy actually to see Poloniex do what they did. I just thought it was fantastic how it came out. But you guys have to remember, this was on the heels of some pretty frustrating times when the Dow attack first happened. I don't know if you want to call it an attack anymore. To me, that just doesn't seem right either. But when the Dow attack first happened, they tried to ask all the exchanges to stop trading, and that just got them all upset. And I remember Bitfinex in particular, they didn't quit trading. I know other exchanges did for a little bit, but then the hard fork too really got them upset, because man, that costs money, and so they got the exchanges pretty upset. And I think I don't know for sure, but I think Poloniex just coming right out of the gate and introducing ETC, right, as a trading mechanism on their exchange, as a trading possibility on their exchange, was just like, wow. I mean, it was so vengeful, in my opinion. And it just gives you an example of why you don't want to really piss these guys off. And I think up to now, Ethereum has pretty much done that. They've made exchanges mad, and I don't think this is a good thing to be doing. Okay, they're just kind of just not thinking up there. I don't know what to say. I mean, I don't know. I mean, they just had sort of like a complete disregard for the exchanges, and I can understand why a lot of them were upset, to be honest with you. So I guess the point I'm trying to get at here is, when you're trading, you need to watch for these things, right? So when I saw what Poloniex was doing, I immediately went over there and grabbed myself an account. I was just so elated to see what they did. And I normally wouldn't have traded. I like Bittrex and I like GDAX. It's kind of where I hang out. But I got into Poloniex because I wanted to get over there and get some ETC, and I think that was a great thing. So compliments to two exchanges in particular. Poloniex for starting the trading in ETC, and Bitfinex and other exchanges who, frankly, didn't stop trading. And I've explained to you why, halting trading is just a terrible thing to do. And, you see this over and over again in other sort of legacy exchanges, like, when China, for instance, blew up, and Chinese government just halted trading in their stock market, right? And what happened, that it just made people even more panicky, because they didn't have control of their money, right? And in crypto especially, right? If you lose control of your money, I mean, that's the one thing none of us want. We want to be able to control our money. That's the whole point of why we're here, right? So for exchanges and for for Ethereum Foundation or Ethereum devs to suggest you halt trading, it was just nuts, right? Just crazy. And I can understand why people got upset, and I can understand why Kraken and some of these other folks have decided, what the heck, we're going to give Ethereum, ETC, Ethereum Classic, a chance here. Now, I think initially they all thought that folks would just start selling their Ethereum Classic and the price would go down to nothing. But that is not what happened, right? It was just quite the opposite. It's a clear-cut message, that the community still believes in immutability, right? And Bitcoin emerged out of the 2008 crisis. I mean, its whole premise was sort of based on this rage that people have from what happened during the 2008 crisis. So, I mean, why was anybody surprised that this is what would happen? Okay. So anyway, I'm going to end it up there. Have fun, try this method of what I showed you in part 1. Really think about it and give it a try. I know a lot of you maybe like to mine. I think that's great. But, for me, I trade. I like to trade. So I wouldn't mind getting some coin. It'd be nice to mine for coin. I've thought about it. It'd be nice to stake for coin. I've done that. But heck, if you can just get in here and just grab yourself some, why not? And I feel that way with Bitcoin. I feel that way with Ethereum or any other coin that's out there. So anyway, guys, give that idea a shot. Let me know if you make some money. All right. Take care.